Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dow Academy Online Learning. We look forward to seeing you all back in class. But for now, stay home, stay safe, and remember to always wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds. Let's begin.
Hello, Form 3s. Today we are going to look at a new topic, the League of Nations. And our key question for the topic is, to what extent was the League of Nations a success? Right from the word go, you have to understand that this key question does not have a yes or no answer. We are going to analyze the agencies and committees of the League of Nations and what they managed to achieve. We are also going to look at the disputes that the League of Nations solved in the 1920s and the 1930s. Then, after analyzing these, we are then going to weigh the League's successes against its failures. Then we also have to assess whether the failures of the league were a result of the league itself, or maybe there were other factors like how the League of Nations was organized, its membership, or the effects of the Great Depression of 1929. Finally, we'll also compare the aims of the league with what it actually achieved. So basically, when we are looking at this topic, that's what we are going to do. So for the background information, I'm sure you're all aware that the League of Nations came about as a result of the First World War. It was set up at the end of the war, whereby many countries came together and tried to decide how they were going to stop another war from breaking like the First World War. Um, with the League of Nations, it officially came into existence on the 10th of January in 1920, and its headquarters was in Geneva, Switzerland. Then we know that the League of Nations was started, the idea was Woodrow Wilson's idea, that is the United States president. But although the League of Nations was the brainchild of the US president, I'm sure by now we all know that the USA was never a member. And one of the jobs now of the League of Nations was to try and make sure that everything that was decided at the Treaty of Versailles that we just finished looking at was maintained. All right. Then I'm just going to briefly look at the aims of the League so that by the end of the topic, you'll be able to see whether they achieved those aims. One of the aims was to discourage aggression from any nation. Then the next one was to encourage countries to cooperate, especially in business and trade. Then they also had to encourage nations to disarm. Remember, the First World War, one of the reasons why it broke out was because all countries were amassing many weapons and they just needed an excuse to test those weapons. So, one of their aims was to encourage nations to disarm. Then you also remember that when we were looking at the Treaty of Versailles, we say that Germany was made to reduce its armaments, and even its army was reduced. So the League of Nations tried to make sure that all nations disarmed. Then lastly, the League of Nations also wanted to improve the living and working conditions of people in all parts of the world. So that's the brief background to the League of Nations. We'll move on from there. Bye.